So it happened. I finally finished the Wheel of Time book series. I finished the Memory of Light, and I've gotta say, not impressed. I did not like A Memory of Light, and overall, my opinion on the Wheel of Time book series has diminished in the sense of like, I've been reading this book series since 2022, and it's 2025 now, so I've spent 3 years on this book series. I'm not happy with the ending. Okay, I say that. The ending itself isn't bad. Like, the actual ending, I didn't mind. It's alright. And my opinion on the ending has softened because when I first read it, I was like, no, I don't like this. I don't like it. What is this? I wasted 3 years on this for what? But after giving it some time and having it, like, mull over, I like the ending. My issue with this book is not the ending. It's more so just the fact of the overall story for the Wheel of Time. I don't think that this needed 14 books to tell this story. I don't think you needed 14 books to tell this story, let alone 14 almost 1,000 page books to tell this story. And look, the writing itself, I have no issue with. The prose, pretty good for the most part. There's like one thing that I did not like, and it's to do with like the big fake out deaths near the end. Specifically the fake out death with Matt, where Matt is like fighting one of the Forsaken, he like falls into the cloud, and literally in the prose it says, and Matt died. But he didn't die, he's completely fine. That, I think, was probably my biggest issue with the ending, with A Memory of Light in general, was just, you get to the ending, you get to the big final battles, and there's just fake death after fake death after fake death, and I'm like, yo, this is not it. What is going on? This is not good. Like, Lan gets a fake death, then Matt gets a fake death, and then Rand, technically his body dies, but Rand gets a fake death because he's alive at the end, because his consciousness has transferred over into Moradin's body. What are we doing with all these fake deaths? Like, this is meant to be the big finale. I'm expecting characters to die, and like, yeah, Egwene dies, but like, I need a bit more than that. Not to mention too, I'm let down with the Dark One and the big final battle confrontation between Rand and the Dark One, because essentially, it's the same thing we've seen before. Like, I know Ba'alzamon is known as, like, the Master of Lies, the Deceiver, and also, too, he has, like, this thing with, like, dreams, like, he attacks you, like, in your dreams and such. But the fact that, like, the big confrontation between Rand and the Dark One and Shayl Ghul is that Rand walks in, and it's basically just another metaphysical vision trip that Rand has. I'm like, really? This is the big finale? Like, maybe if this book series had taken, 6, 7 books to tell this story, and we get to the big confrontation between Rand and Ba'alzamon, and, we get, like, the big vision manifestation trip sequence thing, yeah, that would have been fine. That would have been, like, cool, we've established that for Ba'alzamon. But because it's taken us books upon books, not to mention the fact, too, that we had to go through the slog to get to this, I won't lie, it was disappointing. Like, I did not feel the personal stakes between Rand and Ba'alzamon, because in many ways it wasn't written to be like that. And like, yeah, things do happen in this book for the most part. Like, Garwin or Galad, one of the two is related to Rand, they're Rand's half-brother. But in many ways, kind of doesn't matter. It's kind of a useless detail in my eyes. Egwene dies, Lan gets a fake death, and that one was really annoying too, because it's like, you had Lan lead the battle, you had him basically be like the leader of, is it Shinar? Anyways, he basically takes on his leadership role, he leads the battle, and then, he goes to Shayl Ghul, he helps Rand, and then he gets stabbed by one of the Forsaken, and literally the way it's written, it's like he was stabbed, and Nynaeve felt it through the bond and such, and you think, oh my god, Lan's dying, this is like really sad, but nah, he's completely fine, and I'm just like, really? What are we doing here? Fake death after fake death after fake death, and I'm like, this is really anticlimactic storytelling. For a fantasy book series that is well beloved as The Wheel of Time, I was expecting more from the ending, and I won't lie, I do feel a bit jaded or a bit cheated with the ending because, I don't know, man, like, this wasn't it for me. Like, even Moraine, we brought Moraine back, and it's kind of like, okay, she's here to kind of, like, bridge a bit of peace between Egwene and Rand at the beginning, you know, get all the great houses to acknowledge to the dragon's peace. And then, like, throughout the rest of the book, she doesn't really do a ton. And because of that, it does raise the question of why did we bring her back if she wasn't really gonna do much? And then, yeah, we get to the ending where, like, Rand, he, like, bleeds out from his wounds, but then, like, his consciousness is transferred into Moradin's body. And so, whilst Rand's physical body dies and everyone mourns him, especially Tam, Rand is alive because he's in the body of Moradin, and he just kind of, like, goes off on his merry little way, uses magic somehow without channeling the one power, and he's just like, cool, I'm gonna smoke my pipe and I'm gonna go off, and one day I'll tell Min or Avienda or Elaine that I'm still alive, and yeah. For this being the big grand finale of 14 books, I didn't really love the ending. And I also just thought it was pretty anticlimactic. And again, maybe if the book series had been shorter and it wasn't 14 books long, and if each book wasn't almost 1,000 pages long, I would appreciate it more. Because again, too, when it comes to the Wheel of Time book series, I love those first 3 books. And then from books 4 to 14, there's some, like, really good ones in between. I really liked The Crown of Swords. But then, like, yeah, there's so much just, like, filler and padding. And I'm genuinely curious as to just, why did Robert Jordan think he needed this amount of books to tell this story? He really didn't. And I think because it took so long to tell this story, getting to the finale, it just feels anticlimactic. Like, I wouldn't say that it was a waste of time, because again, each book is very well written and there's a lot of cool things in each book. But at the same time too, I don't think it was worth it. Especially because this book series is so beloved by fans and such. I don't get it. Like, yes, it's well written. Yes, the fantasy world itself is cool. Yes, the one power magic system is cool. And the world building and the lore is interesting. But at the same time too, the overall story for this world, I lost interest by the end of it. I didn't care. And look, I'm not gonna sugarcoat this. Like, this is my opinion. You've tuned in to hear my opinion on this book. I wasn't a fan of it. I was let down. I also don't really have a ton to say about, like, the overall plotting of the book, because in my eyes, it was pretty forgettable for the most part until we got to the end. Because not to mention too, the last battle chapter, I made a whole video on this, was 9 hours long. Like, 9 hours. Like, especially the way it was written, I don't think it needed to be 9 hours long. You could have just separated it into neat chapters, but 9 hours, really, Sando? Not to mention, too, we get the return of, like, Forsaken and such, but I've forgotten half the Forsaken. The Forsaken, to me, are, like, really bad villains. I don't really care about them. Like, what, there's the one that's, like, a really good commander that, like, Matt fights, or Samadine or something. I don't remember. I don't care. Like, in the end, I got burnt out by this series. Just too long, too much information for very little story, and in the end, it just wasn't worth it for me. I don't know, maybe I'm being jaded, maybe I'm being bitter, because again too, it's not poorly written. And I've been told by many Wheel of Time fans, if you reread the series and such, I don't think I will reread the series. I might reread certain books, specifically The Great Hunt, because I think The Great Hunt is a fantastic fantasy book. I think it's genuinely amazing and well written, and there's so many cool set pieces. But in regards to the overall story, I didn't care. I just, it's not super memorable to me. Especially because when the book ends, there's not really much of, like, a big grand wrap-up. It's just like, yeah, this happens. This person's made the new Amelin Seat. Rand's still alive, but he's in Moradin's body and such. And there wasn't a lot of downtime considering how much of this book was battle. And not to mention, too, when you know the fact that A Memory of Light and the previous 2 books were meant to be one book, having finished A Memory of Light, I wish it was one book, because you don't need, like, 2 other books to tell this story. This felt like the 3rd act of a book. Like, if you just took these 3 books and you merged them together into one, it would have been a much stronger story. But yeah, to wrap this all up, those are my thoughts on A Memory of Light. And overall, when it comes to the Wheel of Time book series, if someone was to ask me, are you going to recommend this book series to people, I would mostly go, read the first 3 books, and if you like them, continue. But if you get bored by the slog, don't push through it, because I don't think it's worth it. Or, you know, skip to the last 3 books or something, because at the end of the day, this series is just too long for its own good. And I won't lie, personally, I feel a bit hollow. Like, I finished this book series and I'm kind of just burnt out on fantasy literature. Like, I do want to read Brandon Sanderson's works, but I'm not going straight into Stormlight. I'm going to go into Mistborn because I've heard Mistborn's really good. But at the same time, too, I'm in no rush to go into Mistborn. And it is kind of sad, considering the fact that it's taken me 3 years to get through this book series, to end it, in my eyes, on a bit of a bitter note, like it was an anticlimactic letdown. But those are my thoughts on A Memory of Light. What do you guys think of the book? Let me know in the comments down below. Like, comment, subscribe, follow me on social media, all the good stuff. Until we meet again, I'll see you guys next time.